Safia Usmani, and this is Fulbright Women Podcast Season 2. We're excited to bring to you 20 new brilliant women who are pushing the boundaries in their fields and lives and serving as inspirations to so many around them. Joining us today is Nudrat Piracha. Nudrat was in the cohort of 2015 and did her doctorate in juridical sciences from George Washington Law School. She is the first woman to have qualified as a Doctor of Juridical Sciences from Pakistan. Hello, Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm good. How about you?
Very well. Thank you so much, Dr. Nudrat, for taking out time for this conversation today. I guess my first question would be, what is juridical sciences?
Juridical sciences, it's for especially the doctorate in juridical sciences, is a research-based degree, and it can be relating to law or the working of an organization or a judicial body. But judicial sciences, I mean, it's a long list of subjects. My specialization is basically law, which is one of the juridical sciences.
Fascinating. How did you get interested in this field? How did you get interested in law? Do you remember that first time ever thinking about it?
Law was a strange thing because I myself always wanted to become a pilot. I was never interested in law. But even as a very young child, I remember that my mom used to say to me, this is my Qaid-e-Azam, which was a strange thing to say. Maybe I argued a lot. I don't remember why she said that, but I hadn't really considered law seriously. Pilot is where my passion was. And I even went through the torture of doing pre-engineering degree, because for flying school, you needed maths, calculus, and a degree based in pre-engineering. So I did 2 years of that. And after that, I remember my father saying to me, well done, you've done pre-engineering, that too with a position in the board, but sorry, you cannot become a pilot. And it was like your dreams crashing down. 2 years you're thinking you're becoming a pilot, and now all of a sudden he's like, you can't become a pilot.
Why was that?
At that time there was just one woman in the field, one pilot, and he thought it's a very, very dangerous profession.
Wait a second. So what kind of a pilot? Are we talking about a GDP?
Commercial pilot.
Commercial
pilot. Yeah. So he's like, you're getting on a plane every single day. That's way too risky. And then he's like, this is not a field for women. So he gave me 3 choices. I think I've forgotten one of the choices, that it was that non-serious. Probably it was a doctor, but one was definitely becoming a CSP, civil servant. And the third was becoming a corporate lawyer. And I think the corporate lawyer basically was just a filler, a cushion in the choices. So doctor definitely was out. I had done my pre-engineering. Civil services, my father was a civil servant and we were at war now. I can't become a pilot, so the last thing I'm going to become is a civil servant. So that left only the filler in the list, which was the lawyer. So I started studying law, but I mean, once I started working, I just had this feeling that this is exactly what I want to do. I see, with law, there is so much opportunity to make a change, to make that difference. I think no other field gives you that kind of freedom and that kind of opportunity to make a real difference. So once I started practicing law, I mean, I fell in love with that. I wouldn't do anything else.
We will definitely talk about, making real difference and finding gratification in the field of law. But Something you said caught my attention where your father told you that becoming a commercial pilot is not something that, women should be doing. So you should find something more fitting for yourself. And here you are, then eventually, all these years, after all these years, you chose to do something where you are the only, correct me if I'm wrong, the first and only Pakistani woman to have the doctorate degree in juridical sciences. So you found your way into getting something that no other woman was doing.
It's I did. I'm the first woman to get a doctorate in juridical sciences. But that is not the only first. I mean, there are things in Pakistan that I was the first, for instance, lawyer to become a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. I have been a first at quite a few things, not just the first woman. So I have broken quite a few ceilings. And I think it's not about proving my father wrong, but there are those prototypes. I think the rationale my father had was that if you go into, let's say, civil services, or I think one of the choices might have been teaching, because he thought coming back at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock is absolutely critical, and there should be job security. So he was coming from that angle. But yes, there are prototypes about what women can do, what they cannot. And my thing has always been that I have never let anyone else define who I am or how far I can go. So what I realize is I did this speaking event for the Washington DC bar as well. And I talked to them about these, I call them these shackles that we do not see. Now, these shackles could be something that's in the society, that could be things that is something at your own house. But you see, the elephant, as a very young child, what they do is they chain the elephant. When it's almighty, it's strong, it can break away from the chain. Even then, though the chain is removed, the elephant keeps thinking that these are the boundaries, and somehow it cannot cross this boundary. And I think this is how these cultural and limitations are that we find at home. People would tell you what you are capable of, what you're not capable of, or what is appropriate behavior for women. And I think that's the most difficult part of my journey, trying to walk away from these shackles, which are not really there, but these boundaries that others define for you. And I think that's the principle I've lived by, that I don't let anyone else define what my limits are and what my boundaries are.
It must have been like you said, right? It's a whole journey. And I'm more interested in understanding this part of the journey before we move further on. Cultivating such a mindset where all of these external, thought process, external opinions don't really matter. It requires building a certain kind of strength and confidence in oneself. Walk me through that process. How did you develop that kind of strength in yourself?
I think it comes from, definitely for me, it comes from religion. It comes from motivation. I have always kept the eye on the prize. Right? So if you are having a lot of negativity around you, you need to channel that negativity into a positive stream, right? And much of the criticism that you're getting, or otherwise the negativity that surrounds you, until you're able to channel it into a positive stream. So it becomes extremely difficult to shut out those voices. And you're quite right. If you're not very confident in yourself, and then you have all these people telling you what you can or cannot do, it is difficult. But it has always, I think, been a small voice inside which keeps telling you that, you know what, you're better than this, right? And there is, I heard about this, it's a make-believe joke that there is this competition of frogs, and everyone says there is just no way the frogs can climb the hill in 5 minutes. And everyone is just criticizing and hooting, and no frog actually makes it to the top except one. And then they go for an interview to this frog, and they say, how did you do it? Everyone said you couldn't. And they realized the frog was deaf. And most of the times, I mean, that is how I feel. You just have to be deaf to much of the criticism. But even like the criticism, I do say that criticism is good, even if it's bad criticism. It's not true, because you see, if the criticism is right, then you get opportunity to improve. And if the criticism is completely incorrect, then I say that those people who were out there looking for something to criticize you for, if they have had to resort to lies, I think that is a compliment, right? So either way, if it is true criticism or if it is false statements, either way it is good. But it's a journey of self-discovery, of growth, and listening to that tiny voice inside which is telling you, you know what, this can be done, and you don't have to listen to anyone else. Just believe in yourself.
That's a very profound thought, actually, just not, and it's easier said than done, but you have been proving, in your personal capacity how it is possible, right? To just listen to what your heart is saying, to just listen to what your mind is telling you, turn a deaf ear towards, unjustified criticism or unjustified, downers, like we call them, right? But you also said keep your eye on the prize.
Yeah.
How did you keep your eye on the prize when your initial, goal that you had in life, it was, like you said earlier, completely demolished, right? How did you set your eye on a new prize?
Yeah. So the price, I mean, these are small goals, like becoming a pilot or becoming something in adopting a particular profession. I think that is the small goals towards the prize, right? The prize in my mind was not just like becoming a pilot. I would give you one instance, for instance. When I started working, right, this was the first few weeks in the firm. And the managing partner, he wanted to give a very high profile case to me. And my colleagues wouldn't give me the files, right? He would keep coming back every second, third day asking me about the summary he had asked me to prepare. And I would just keep. And many of them would give up in situations I didn't.
Sciences.
On top of that, I had come to a point where there was a but after this call, I thought I needed to step away.
Because I'm sure as a
That's where if I keep we would be able to customize and It's, you don't really have. Yes, yes, and I think the beauty of ADR or mediations is that it puts the autonomy back in the hands of the individual, right? For instance, let's take the example of a victim. The victim is the one in the system who is going to have the least say in the criminal system we have at the moment. Let's imagine if it's a rape victim, that person is going to have the least say. It's going to be the family and others, and of course the hierarchies and the system is set in a way that the first thing that the victim is going to lose is voice in the system, right? What mediation does is it's focused on the individuals, right? So for uh, a rape victim, it is the rape victim who has the voice, right? Not the family, not the community, not the baradari. That person, that individual is the one who has to decide what works, what is acceptable, what is not. But in the criminal system at the moment, or the justice system, I think the litigants, the victims, the first thing they lose is their voice, because they are putting it in the hands of the lawyer who understands the law. They are putting it in the hands of the judge who's going to decide right and wrong. He can't go beyond that. So mediation basically puts the autonomy back in the hand of the party. So it's the victim who decides what is acceptable and what is not.
In addition to everything that you've done so far, in addition to the 3 programs that you're currently involved in addition to all of that, do you have anything on your wish list that you think about, that this is something that I'm really going to work on before I retire, or before, anything else, I need to get this one thing done? Do you have anything of that on your wish list?
I think again, these are goalposts. The larger goal, as I said, is revolutionizing the legal system in Pakistan. So that, I think, is a goal which should see me to my grave if done right. It's a ambitious goal, but yes, if I could make that dent, I think before I go, that is something I would really want to do. So I am working on 3 different fronts. I mentioned the law firm. It's then ICADRIP, which is to revolutionize the judicial system. But of course, students are an important part of everything, the lawyers and the students. So I have created collaborations with universities like George Washington, American University, Pepperdine, the International Law Institute, quite a few for mediations. I mean, working on these 3 prongs together, sometimes I don't think it's going to finish in my lifetime. But if I could make that dent, I think that is something I would really want to do.
And it is a dent that all of us, pray it happens. And I wish you all the best with everything that you're doing. And it was such a pleasure to, indulge in this conversation with you today. I had a lot of fun, Dr. Nudrat. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Thank you.